Hi Dad, this is one of the other games I'm currently playing at the moment. It's called Battlefleet Gothic Armada 2. It's essentially a game that has both a strategy and a real-time strategy portion. So the setting is it's many, many years in the future, you're humankind, and there's a whole bunch of different alien races that are attacking your planets. Now, this is turn 157, which is quite a few in. What I'll do is I'll go through this the strategy part of the game, this interface, and then what I'll do is I'll take you through a couple of the fights. It can get a bit confusing. There's probably a fair bit that I won't be able to explain, especially during the fights, as they tend to get a bit hectic, but I think you'll get the general gist, and I hope you enjoy this. Right, so you start out in the Cadian system, and all these systems are enemy held, and then over time you take control of these planets and you make them blue, and then from there you get special missions that allow you to go into these other systems. I won't be showing you that at this time. It's a bit in the past, but it is a fair bit of fun. So that's the general concept. Now onto what you can see on the screen at the moment. The first here is your income. Pretty obvious. I'm getting a bit over 2,000 income. Production. I'm spending about 1,100 every turn on my fleets, and I have about 1,100 free each turn. And that's money is used for both buying ships and for buying upgrades for your planets. The next bit here is the battle plans, and they're generally used for delaying enemy fleets. So probably won't show you that during this. It's not really relevant. The next is the renown panel, essentially the upgrades you can get. So every fight you take and you win, you get an amount of renown. The less, I guess, fleet points that you have compared to the enemy fleet points, the more renown you'll get. So what you want to do is put as few ships possible into the fight, lose none of the ships, and then win the battle. And from there you get renown. And every time I go up a level, I get a potential be able to have a new fleet. So for instance, when I get to level 12, I'll have a new Adeptus Astartes fleet slot I can fill. Here are the ship tonnages. Now these are unlocked with the various levels. I think you start out with light cruisers, and then I think it's like level 2 or 3 you get cruisers. From there you get battle cruisers, grand cruisers, and battleships. Every time you go up a level, or if you complete a special mission, you can also get what is called an upgrade point. Now these do things like, for instance, armor piercing ammunition, which means that I do more damage. You can do things, get things like fire suppression systems, which means that any fire aboard my ship does less damage. That's only for Imperial Navy ships. The other thing you'll notice is that it applies to the various levels. So when I get when I buy a ship, especially in the start, it starts at level 0. So none of these upgrade points will apply. However, when I get to level 1, and if I've bought a particular option, they then all apply to that ship. So that's that. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 upgrades left to go. And I'm hoping eventually at the end I'll do enough special missions and I will go up enough levels that I'll be able to max that out. Right, so we have our missions here. So these are essentially special missions you can do, either to advance the plot, to unlock certain things, or in this case here, the ancient one, to permanently disable that particular type of enemy fleet from attacking me. We won't be seeing those today, but generally it's a mission. You'll start, you'll have an objective, you'll complete it, it'll then give you another objective in that same mission, and then after about another one of those, the mission will be over. Here we have the end turn button, which is fairly obvious, and what we also have here is this bar. Now I've just managed to reset this because I finished the mission, but essentially every time I end a turn, one of these bars is filled in. Now there's about 5 or 6 bars, and then we go to low urgency, and then another 5 to grave urgency, another 5 to critical urgency, and then another 5, and then the war is lost. So essentially this is to stop you from just progressing the game, but being very cautious. What will happen once it reaches low urgency is that the threat level of every faction is raised by 1. Now, at the end of every turn, what it does is it goes through each system and each planet, and it looks at the threat level for that system, and it rolls a bunch of dice in the background, and if the roll meets criteria, a new enemy fleet is summoned to attack in a number of turns. So the idea is you want to max out the amount of renown, the experience you get, by fighting ships and fleets, but you don't want to wait too long to try and achieve one of these to achieve one of the missions to reset the bar, because otherwise there will be too many fleets coming in to deal with, and then if you don't complete a mission and reset this before you hit the war is lost option, the war is lost and you get to start over. Right, what I'll do now is I'll go through the systems. Each have a number of different, I guess, variables, features, and then I'll dive into a particular system and show you what's going on. So here we have Medusa. It's got 5 planets. Now you can see it's got 5 planets here. Then it has 1 enemy fleet incoming. It has 3 of my fleets. It has 12 out of 12 construction points, which is used to build the various types of ships, and it has no planets that can be upgraded. Now you won't see this in this video because I've upgraded all the planets, but what I'll do is I'll walk through some of the options there. So zooming in, right, so in the top left hand corner we've got the threat meter, and the 5 different alien fleet types that I've currently encountered. The first is Chaos. They're essentially people, demons, people that have consorted with demons, or the demons themselves captaining and controlling the fleets. Now, because of the various options in the system and some other stuff, the threat level is currently 0. We have the Arderi. They're essentially, I guess you call them space elves. Now, what they normally do is their ships will be fast, they'll come in, they'll raid your ships, and then they'll speed out, and then they'll keep doing that. We have the Necrons, who I absolutely hate. They're essentially undead aliens from millions of years ago. We have Orcs, which are pretty obvious, and we have Tyranids. Tyranids are basically living space organisms that will fly around. They will go to a planet and they will just basically eat all life, consume it, and then they move on to the next. So what the threat level means is that if I go end turn, it'll go through all the planets, or sorry, all the systems, and then it's most likely an orc. If it'll roll the dice for each faction, and then what will happen is most likely, if anything happens, it's most likely to be an orc fleet that comes in. And this is just the systems under control. You get various things. If you're at level 2 or 5 out of 5, I get my repair rate is increased by 20%, and all the enemy factions threat level is reduced by 2 in the sector. And the sector is all these systems. Whoops. Okay, looking at the planets. Planets can have 3 upgrades. They can have minefields. Sorry, systems. They can have minefields, which delay, which I don't necessarily want to be done. They can have what are called defense platforms, which are small platforms, and you have space stations. Now, that's pretty much it for that. Now, looking at this Medusa system, it has this Medusa planet has a number of features on it. That won't mean much to you. This generates construction points. Unsustainable world means that the evolution delays. It's delayed by half. A symbol increases my renown. Adeptus is to do with the fleet leaders. Research station allows one of the upgrades once a particular type reaches level 3. A strategic position allows you to build a planet. When I first capture this, it'll start at 0, then there'll be 5 bars, and it'll get to level 2, and then there'll be 5 bars and go to level 3. When it reaches level 2, I can buy it, and then, for instance, instead of generating 0 at level 1, it'll generate 2 construction points every turn. Now, in this case, I've upgraded it to level 3, so it generates 3 construction points. I can have a max of 3 fleets on my side, and there can be a maximum of 3 enemy fleets. So, moving around, and I do realise this is a bit jarring. Here we have the Dissa system. It has a defense platforms. It's got 3 of my fleets, and in 2 turns, a Tyrannid fleet worth 2,700 points will be attacking. I have options to cancel it and options to delay it using my battle plans. I don't generally like doing that because I want more battles. More battles means more renown. More renown means more upgrades. We also have here the number of fleets. Imperial Navy is one type. Adeptus Astartes, Space Marines, is a second, and the Adeptus Mechanicus is a third. Now you notice that I got 5 out of 5 for Imperial Navy, but 5 out of 4 for Adeptus. Now what this means is I have 4 allowed fleets at my renown level, but I actually have 5 Adeptus Astartes fleets. Now I have that because one of the missions has a bonus for completion of a fleet of every different type. Right, so each system is connected to the others haphazardly, and some of the edge systems will be connected to the other sector. So zooming out again, you see how these, and then this planet here is connected to this planet in the Nemesis Tessera system over here. So you can also see how fleets can move, so around there, up there, to there, and then up and around. And essentially that's it for the other systems. So this one here has one enemy fleet coming in, one fleet of my own. Zooming in quite quickly. My fleet's here. This Aldari fleet will come in 4 turns. Zooming out. So it's essentially a game of assigning fleets to invasions, and then dealing with those coming in. What can happen? for instance, in the Agrippa system, is that there are 4 enemy fleets coming in, and I only have 4 fleets of my own. So this is bad because, for instance, this 1800 Eldari fleet, that's essentially 2 enemy fleets, and I can meet it with my 2 fleets here, but I've got these other fleets coming in a number of turns, and I don't have enough fleets of my own to match those, because you want generally a 1-to-1 parity before you take the flight. So for instance, we've got orcs coming in 2 turns. My ships probably can't even make it over there, some of them, so what I'll probably end up doing is delaying those at some point. Alright, so I've gone through previously and I've maneuvered my fleets into the right place. So for every enemy fleet that is scheduled to come when I hit end turn, as in 1 turn's time, I've set up my fleets to be in place. What I'm going to do now is quickly go through the fleet types, what all the bits mean, and then what I'll do is I'll end the turn. So here in the Chinchair system, I have this fleet here. It's Adeptus Mechanicus. They're essentially cyborgs. It was in a fleet battle last turn and they took some damage. So this battleship is fine, but this battleship here, for instance, is still around 55% hull and 45% damage. It's also got only 14 out of 16 at the red level of essentially troop level on board. So that's not great. What'll happen is that at the end of the turn I will get 11 extra troop, and that will take it to 9 of 16 at yellow, and then I will want to leave that healing until it's fully 16 of 16 green. Essentially, you'll have you have your green level, and then once it burns through that 16, you'll go into yellow, and you'll take damage when it goes from green to yellow. And then the same will happen when it goes from yellow to red. When you run out of all your troop, the 16 slots at red, the ship is then abandoned. And either you win the battle and you get it back, and it has one troop on board, or if you lose a battle, you lose the ship. Right, that is the Arc Mechanicus. They tend to, we'll just have a quick look here of the types of weapons. So you've got all these different things. So some of these are the upgrades that the Renowned get. Some of these are inherent to the ship itself, like the plasma reactor, and that comes with the Adeptus Mechanicus, I guess, racial type. And then we have the weapons. So, for instance, the Nova weapon is essentially a long-range artillery. You generally get, say, 3 shots, and that's it for each battle. You'll have your plasma micro battery, you'll have your lance, and you'll have your lance turrets. You have a number of skills and stuff that I'll show you when we get into the battle. Let me see if... right, so this is a cruiser, the Dictator. It has launch bays. Now, launch bays give you 3 different options. Unfortunately, there's only 2 for the Adeptus Mechanicus, but essentially you have fighters, you have bombers, and then certain ship types also get a 3rd, essentially triple shot ships. So fighters fight other enemy fighters. They also destroy turrets, which are the sort of anti-aircraft part of a ship. Bombers bomb. And the triple shot ships will deliver 1 or more of your assault troops to the enemy ship when you attack and get through. So that can be very useful, but it's also a bit risky because they're easily shot down. Here are some of the skills you have. So, for instance, This leader has the ability to have unlimited Nova Cannon shots. That is this thing here, but there's a cooldown issue. The cooldown is raised by 20%, so that's a bit of a drawback there, but you do get infinite shots and some other stuff as well. That's a good example of that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to end the turn and we'll go through a couple of the upcoming battles. This will flip through pretty quickly at times. So it's going through the various systems and enemies. Serena Agrippa, Necron, and here we are. Now I hate Necron. They have an ability that destroys essentially any a fighter squadron or a bomber squadron or an assault squadron from any of their capital ships. You get secondary objectives, but generally that's not very useful towards the last stage of the game. I now have the ability to choose which ships I have. So I have 2,051 ship points, including the star bases. But my leadership only gives me, I can only deploy 1350 worth of ships at a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to maximize the ships that aren't fully trained over the ones that are. The other thing one of the things I need to take note of though is that ships, especially cruisers, get eaten alive by battle cruisers or bigger ships. So this dictator has a Nova Cannon, and I believe it also has aircraft, but I need to be very careful to keep it to the rear, otherwise it'll get destroyed. So I'm going to put in 3 of my battleships. The gold indicates that is where the Admiral is on. The Admiral is the one that gives you those extra attributes. So you get there is one ship in every fleet that your Admiral is on. If you lose that ship, you lose your Admiral. Right, so I'm going to go in with these. Now what can happen is I can retreat these this particular ship, and then one of these 2 ships will then be available to bring onto the battlefield. You generally don't want to retreat ships though, because they can, unless you're really going to lose it, because otherwise they suffer damage, and they also suffer disadvantages until repaired if they retreat. Alright, so here we are. This will take a little while. We have a bit of a battle setup montage with some background. Right, so we're on the battlefield now. Now, the battlefields have a number of attributes. The first is the goal. One goal is just simply to destroy all the enemy, and that's pretty straightforward. The goal of this battle is there are 5 capture areas that essentially capture the flag. So what will happen is I'll move my ships to here, and I'll capture the flag, and I get points. And then after a certain amount of points, after I've achieved a certain amount of points, then I win. Now, my 2 defense platforms, 2 groups of defense platforms, also capture the capture areas, and you also get points for destroying enemy ships. So generally, instead of trying to get all 5 spots, what I generally try and do, especially if I have defense platforms, is I will stay in an area and I will pick off the enemy ships that come into the area. So for instance, there'll be a stream coming down here on down the right, and I'll attack that, and there'll be a stream coming to the left that I will ignore. So essentially it's divide and conquer. Alright, so we have some features on the battlefield. The first are these clouds. If you're in the cloud, you're stealthed until you fire, or if they have like ships in there. The second, and I'll just move around here, are basically asteroids, and they do a little bit of damage, and they also generally block firing stuff as well. Now, I will start the battle, and there might be a modifier. So in some cases, there are plasma storms, which mean that around these gas clouds, you'll have storms that will do damage. There could, for instance, be solar flares, which basically interferes with your scanners, or there could be a rolling line of damage from the sun, which will damage everything in its path unless you're in a gas cloud. So what I'm going to do is I will find out when I start the battle what particular modifier there is, if there's anything. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to group them up, and I'll go through the various bits here. So these are some automatic control options that I never use. Here is my maneuver bar. I can go full throttle, for instance, but it costs my bar. We have high energy turn, which does cost some. We have normal speed, which doesn't cost anything, and we have burn retros, which essentially means pivot on the spot. We have stances. We have brace for impact, which is essentially brace for impact. You take less damage, and you basically don't take morale losses, morale being the yellow bar here. You have lock on, which is essentially more accuracy, and we have relay, which is essentially fire, fire, fire. We have command skills, repair, call to arms, which I'm sure I'll get to show you. Essentially, you do it, it disables a whole bunch of stuff, but any enemy troops on board do less damage. You do encouraging speech, which I never really use, and rally. We have assault skills. We can transfer troops to a ship that, for instance, where all the good people have been killed off. We have lightning strike, which is useful for attacking enemy ships, but can only be used if they don't have any shield. And we have boarding action, which can be used at any time, but is limited in scope. We have some of my weapons. So this is the Nova Cannon shot, which I'll definitely show you. We have a Misna, which I generally don't use. We have Furies, and we have fighters, and we have bombers, which I will definitely be showing. We have specials, which I can use as many as I want. We have Rad Tempest, which damages everything without shields in an area, and supercharged void shields. We have a bunch of retreat options, cancel orders and stuff. So looking at the ships themselves, we have the blue bar, which is shield. We have green, which is the hull. And we have yellow, which is morale. So green, the shield will regenerate as long as that particular part of the ship is not broken, the shields. We have hull, which is your hull, and your morale. Morale will take losses due to enemy boarding. It will take losses if your other ships are destroyed. When it reaches 0, your ship will mutiny, and that's bad. So what I would do is I group them up on here, group 1, and I will set the lock-on sniper skill. That will get changed depending on where we are in the battle. What you'll also see is I will select something when the battle has started, and there will be a timer counting down. So I can't change that option for instance, there's a stance until that timer counts down. So I choose something and I'm locked into it for the next, I think, 90 seconds. We have options here, like the assault. You'll see the pips. I only have 4 pips of lightning strike. That's in general across the fleet. Each ship has 4 pips each, and as the battle goes on, I'll show you a bit more about that. These technicals I can use as many times as I want, but there's a cooldown. Now, the assault stuff and the Nova Cannon stuff, you use it, that's it, it's gone. However, the fighters and the bombers, you'll send them out. If they make it back, then they get reloaded. If they don't make it back, that pip is gone. Alright, I'm ready. Let's go. Alright, so I'm going to sit myself here.
Optimal course set.
And use burn to get in place. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send off my fighters to scout.
Interceptors
now,
engaging.
my fighters will probably end up fighting their fighters. Depending on who has more fighters will depend on who wins. The fighters and bombers are essentially, you treat them as disposable. Okay, what I'm going to do is stop that. Now if I let the bar go down all the way to the bottom, it'll turn purple and it needs to recharge all the way before I can use it again. In this case I didn't, so I can
rouse the engines to fury.
Burn at will. So my fighters are going to hit theirs because they intercept. My fighter's going to easily kill, well, maybe not.
Engaging drive.
Alright, so I'll get my ships up. These have turrets on. Turrets are anti-fighter.
You have seized a strategic area. You have seized a strategic area.
So what will happen is that fighters or bombers, if they see an enemy in the area, they will then fight. Alright. Enemy ship here, it jumps. That's right, it's a scout, it'll die soon. Alright, I want to get back a bit. Essentially, I use my defense platforms to basically bear the brunt. They will often die pretty quickly.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
There's a enemy ship here, but I don't know what sort.
Hostile signature detected.
Yep, you see they've just destroyed my fighters.
Engaging.
It's alright, so let's change stance to lock on, shoot, shoot, shoot. And I will assault in as soon as I'm in range. And I'll also choose, we can choose a particular area of attack, and that would be the deck.
Bulkheads failing.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Most of your guns are on the side of the ship, so I'll rotate my ships.
Teleportarium vectors calculated.
Shields are down, so I'll use my Red Tempest. But that's an enemy battleship.
Troop transition successful.
So I've got this area. Got 274 out of 3200. They've got 197. As soon as this dies,
teleportarium vectors calculated.
I got them coming in. You need to die soon. Alright, let's find out what you are.
25%
Alright, I've jumped from around 2,200 to 800. Okay, he's a small ship, I don't care about you. Alright.
Transition begun.
Alright, been boarded. It's not worth it to do much about anything
Hostile
for one.
detected.
Alright, okay. Side attack.
Hostile signature detected.
And then I will get my troops on there. He's gone Awakened Warriors, which essentially means that he has gone into Call to Arms. he is disable all his attributes to make sure to take less damage from those. So I got 10 attacks. That will drop down. Yeah.
Hostile signature detected. Castellan manifold teleported.
Alright, you're 1. Priority 1, you're also priority 1.
Transition successful. Machine spirit
on board,
appeased.
so I call to arms. Slows my ship down, plus.
Receiving your order.
Plus. Okay.
Castellan manifold teleported.
Now, I'll undo call to arms so I can shoot more, but
Transition successful.
it takes time for that ability to reset. So what you often do is attack. They'll go Awakened Warriors, they'll disable it, and then you attack again, and that means they take more damage.
Odds of survival falling.
So this ship is pretty much gone in terms of.
Rearmament.
You only got 1 left. That's fine. I'm going to win this battle. Alright.
Starhawks engaging. Teleportarium vectors calculated. We are ready to serve.
Alright, I'm gonna get my my artillery in action again. It's forward facing. So it's coming in that red circle.
The spirits obey.
So I can scuttle if I want to destroy it, but I don't want to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get you
50% of strategic points
out because you're pretty damaged.
To serve the Omnissiah.
So I'll select the Marine ships. I'll hotkey him to
With
1.
matchless efficiency.
Go 2, and you are going to. Oh, okay, you just. This one's just
Receiving
going to
your
crawl.
order.
It's got decks destroyed, generators destroyed, and no shields, and the engines destroyed. So
State your order.
it's going to be slow as. All right, so
Calculating vectors.
I'm going to change
Focusing
to
warsight.
The enemy
accuracy,
has
long
seized a
range.
strategic area.
I'm going to burn in to these enemy.
We are ready to serve. With matchless efficiency.
Oops, they do that, they jump.
Battle protocols engaged. We are ready to serve.
So he's in yellow now because of all the attacks.
Transition successful.
But I'm at 2100 out of 3200 needed to win. So all I need to do is destroy this ship and take back these 2.
The enemy has accumulated 25% of strategic points.
While you're getting rid of that, you can
Starhawks
probably
engaging.
send in the fighters.
Castellan manifold teleported.
The enemy is seizing one of your strategic areas.
Begin rearmament.
Okay, change to lock on family, I think, because they're always going to be close. Yep, it's more shooting.
The spirits obey.
So I know there's an enemy around here somewhere because I saw fighters coming from that way. And I've won because destroying that ship gave me enough points to reach the points required to win the battle. So if I remember correctly, my fleet points, so my fleets plus the defense platforms are roughly the same amount, so I won, so I get around 100. So if I had like an extra 500 fleet points. They're probably around 50 or less. This ship that got really damaged, it got an increase in experience. Experience is simply the amount of battles that they've gone into, like being on the battlefield. So you want to cycle your ships as much as possible through the different battles. Okay, and this is Tyranids. Okay, and again, this is less experienced ship, so I want to cycle it through. I have so many leadership points, and each ship has a different number of points that it costs. You notice that the battleships, some of them are 333, some of them are 300. It depends on the type of ship that they are. But this is going to give me, I can get rid of this light cruiser. Yeah, I'll keep it in actually. And just keep it out of the way. It might be able to launch aircraft, and that's very handy. But I know I'll have defense platforms, so what I'll do is essentially the same. I'll hide behind the defense platforms, enemy ships will go for those, I'll shoot enemy ships, and then eventually, once it's worn through the defense platforms, they'll do recruit with me, but by that point, I've worn them down quite a bit. Okay, I'm going to put you here. This is the light cruiser in stealth mode, and okay, move you over here. Yep, so light cruiser has aircraft. Alright.
Changing course.
Okay, and I'll direct you here.
Engaging
So for
engines.
instance, this is my cannon shot area. Okay.
State your order.
Send out some fighter patrols from
Interceptors
various
engaging.
ships to basically scout. Now here we are, so okay, that's a lot.
Fury interceptors in flight.
So what I'll do is I'll boost my ships in so that they add the defensive turret fire.
Setting course.
And I have a disruption bomb. That's handy. That disruption bombs get rid of shields. So what you often do is, when you can, put in the disruption bomb, drop the shields, and then use your Red Tempest and your Nova Cannon shots.
Machine spirit appeased.
Okay, so they'll often just go straight towards
Aye, Admiral.
one of your Admiral ships.
Ship ready.
So if I put my other ships in front,
Machine spirit appeased.
basically combines my defensive fire, they'll attack the turrets, which makes other attacks more effective, like the bombers and the
We wait your command.
assault ships. And you can actually crash into yours and cause damage, so you got to be really
Course
careful.
engaged.
Enemy sighted.
Here we are. You're dead.
Starhawks loaded and sent. We serve. Heading acknowledged.
Okay, there's none left on board. What I'll do is I'll transfer a troop. I'll use your ability.
Enemy
Scan.
sighted.
Okay, we got a lot coming in. That's fine.
We are ready to serve.
Oh, this is painful. We can be really.
Engaging drive.
Your orders?
Taking heavy damage.
Alright,
Transition successful.
Time to go to shoot everything and
Teleportarium vectors calculated.
Starhawks loaded and set.
so while they're firing,
Castellan
they
manifold
freeze.
teleported.
I've shot empty area. That sucks. But it
Underway.
happens.
Troop transition successful. Teleportarium vectors
Okay, they
calculated.
sucked. This is the residue from a dead ship, and
We
it
wait
actually
your
causes
command.
damage and slows everything down. So you don't want to be in that.
Understood. Ship ready. Enemy ship crippled by the lightning strike.
Alright, time to.
Coordinates acknowledged. Bulkheads failing.
We lost a defense platform.
We serve. Understood. Starhawks loaded and sent. Changing course.
So that's one of their battleships. I really. And also, you can ram. That's generally fun.
Enemy sighted.
Ship ready.
What I'm going to do is kill you, and then I'm going to fall back.
Orders.
Rocket failing.
Energize vectored thrust.
Alright.
We lost a defense platform.
All my defense platforms are down. That's bad, but that's what they're there for.
We serve.
They're a speed bump.
State your order.
We wait your command.
Okay,
Interceptors
get some scaling
engaging.
done.
We serve. Heading acknowledged.
Alright, I want to get my cannons in.
Aye, Admiral.
Enemy sighted.
Oh, okay.
Enemy sighted.
Alright, you're dead, but that's you're there for. Alright, wait for the shields to get destroyed. Come on, come on. Okay, this also have battle planes on this one here. You can grab when you assault. But the important thing is to
Impossible, Admiral. Lightning strike
Kill.
successful.
To serve the Omnisire.
Assault crews report success.
Alright, call to arms because I'm being attacked. I've got troops
Castellan
on board.
manifold
Oh crap,
teleported.
done all of them. Alright, I want you to get out of there because that will start showing you the sticky stuff.
Teleportarium vectors calculated.
Shark assault boats on their way.
Okay, you're just going to get intercepted by fighters, so it's pointless.
Ship
Come
ready.
Alright, disable
Aye,
and
Admiral.
go fast. I want you to come in closer.
Course engaged. Your orders?
Okay, drop a disruption on you. Oh, okay. That's bad. That's fine. Time it.
to serve the Omnissiah.
Shark assault boats on their way.
See, I can't use my cool arms because it's on cooldown.
We serve. On the way.
That's right, you're going to be dead soon, so call back the bombers so I can reuse you as quickly as possible.
Receiving your order.
Call in support. Do some scouting.
We wait your command.
So some ships heal. I think Necrons do. Necrons definitely do, but I can't remember if. Let's. All right.
Enemy
That's
sighted.
fine. Ah, yes, you're almost dead. All right.
Engaging engines.
Essentially, this is damage I didn't see happen, and I've won. At a certain point, their morale breaks, and if enough morale breaks, then you even win the battles that where it's essentially is destroy the enemy completely. Okay, get promotion, battle cruiser, get a bit more renown this time. Another promotion. You see that this battleship got a bit of damage. The light green means it'll be fixed by, I think it's the end of this turn when my repair stuff done. I'll get 10 people back, so I'll be like 18 of 18 yellow, and then I need to, after a bunch of turns, it'll be 18 of 18 green. Cycle through the various systems. And the end of the turn. And that is that. I hope you enjoyed.